You want me to stop?
Oh, there you go. Hello.
Hey.
Welcome to our latest Twitch stream. I'm here again with Daniel Jones. Some of you may remember him from a few weeks ago. I say weeks now. It's been a couple of months since we started streaming.
Yeah.
And I think I pretty much lost count of how many streams we've actually done. I was keeping track at one point. So Daniel, do you want to just give us a quick overview of what you do and why you've come back again?
Yeah. Hi everyone. So you may remember me doing a portrait before of drawing a character using Copic markers. So I'm a portrait artist, but at the same time as I've been studying in Glyndŵr, I am a game artist and more specifically a 3D environment artist, and that's what we're about to show today. And the reason why we're doing this again is because I wanted to show the game art side. So
yeah, absolutely. I think before we even start this, we were just chatting before the stream, and I mentioned to Dan in the years that I've been teaching, Dan actually got the highest grade I've ever given to a student for his environment art. So well done, Dan, for graduating. Actually, you finished. You've handed all your work in. Everything's passed. Yeah. We have the external in next week, but apart from that, it's kind of everything's. That's it. Master's in the bag.
Yeah.
Kiss My Artichokes put hello, Dan. In the
hello,
chat.
Kiss My Artichoke.
What we'll do is we'll jump over to the other screen now, so I can get rid of my face, and we'll have a little recap of what you did for us last time, and then we'll have a little look at your art station as well to see what it is you do.
Yeah.
Let's jump over there. All right, so this is one of your scenes. This is what was something that we will come back to in a second. We're just going to throw up your Instagram first, which is broken. There we go. So this is the kind of stuff that Dan came and did last time, wasn't it? So you did the portrait art stuff, the sketches that you do with markers, the Copic markers. That's what you were doing there, wasn't it?
Yep.
Did you finish the Sub-Zero? Or is that still going?
Still going. That is because I got commissions that have just come up.
Flooding in after the Twitch stream. Flooding in.
Well, hopefully. It's just like I got an anonymous one from Etsy. Mum wants me to do a few for friends and a few others. So
if anyone does want one of Dan's portraits, is you can get in touch via your Instagram account. I'll send you a direct message. Some of the stuff that Dan also does is on here as well. So this is part of your environment art stuff, isn't it? The 3D model of the vending machine. Some more stuff there from Unreal Engine. Again, I think we'll probably be looking at some of these as well, won't we, on the art station in a second, so you'll get a better picture of the kind of stuff that you do. Have you updated this lately? Is this all new that you posted on here?
Oh, this updated it. Still doing it. Yeah, that is because still learning how to do the light maps and all of that. There's a lot to update.
So you're currently revisiting some of the projects that you've done as part of the course.
Yep, and also importantly, just looking at tutorials as to better ways to update them.
Right. So we've got a few things in the chat. Kiss My Artichokes put well done. Phantom Wolf, hello there. And Kiss My Artichokes actually highlighted a message that looks amazing. So
Thank you.
Go. So let's jump off Instagram because we've seen that before, and let's bring up your art station. I'm just going to switch over to art station just before we do that. Pop that on. So there we go. So we should now. It's just kind of the same image that we just had on, but let's go back to your profile. So if anyone is interested in ArtStation or is on ArtStation, then head over to Dan's page and certainly give him a follow. If we have a little look at some of the stuff that you've posted on here, so these are your three main topics. I think there is all environment and three, two, isn't it? Yeah, one's just everything. So we'll probably jump into everything and have a little look through that. So this is the one that we're going to be talking about today. So I don't know if spoilers. We can certainly have a look at that. So this is what you're going to be talking about in a second, isn't it? And you're going to be looking at that in Unreal Engine. And so for people who are in the chat who don't know what Unreal Engine is, do you want to tell us a little bit about that?
Yep. So Unreal Engine is basically a game engine. Many studios, of course, they use these game engines to, yeah, that's just the gist of it. It's just basically creating their environments within them, placing in their characters, telling their stories, and basically, it's basically a little world that they create to,
Yeah, so it's everything in a game.
Well, it's everything in a game.
All the mechanics, isn't it?
As simple as that, yeah. Just
so it's everything. I mean, from lighting to environments, special effects, animations, pretty much everything.
Huge
you
variety.
Normally see it, don't you? The sort of on the splash screens of games.
Yeah.
You know, it pops up and says that they've used Unreal Engine. There's other game engines out there, of course, like Unity and Frostbite, a few others as well, and a lot of studios use their own engine too, don't they?
Yeah, and so a lot of people take jobs in many different areas, from of course environment art, character artists, to UIs and technicals. Yeah.
So this is just to let everyone know, the video that you're currently watching on screen is a YouTube video that Dan's recorded, and you've basically created everything in this scene.
Yes. Well, I would say most, but a lot of these, which many artists would use as well, as a thing called Megascans, and basically some of these could be some of these are stock, but stuff like the church was done from scratch. The props, the trees, some have done from scratch, like the dead trees there. Yeah. The
gun as well.
Yep, the gun as well.
Okay, and I think you said that you used the arm as a prop, didn't you? But you modelled the sleeve.
Yep, textured it too.
A couple of things coming up in the chat. Funkatron, hey, Unreal Engine is amazing. Rhubarb has put, how long have you been game making?
Game making, for this one project, or just in general?
Just in general, from the start. Cause that's one of the questions I've got on my list, is when did you start making games?
Since the beginning of 2019.
So that's when you started the course?
Oh, started the course. Oh, when it comes to environment art, I would say I started beginning of 2019, right, but when I started game art, it was 2017 when I joined uni.
So yeah.
Of course. Yeah.
Great. So this was the last project, the previous project that you did, the Valhalla sort of Mead Hall Vikings style, and this is one that you revisited after working on the light maps as well, wasn't it?
Yeah. I was in contact with a professional to basically update this to make it more, accurate in terms of lighting and shadowing. Yeah, I was glad to get the help. So basically, learning about light maps, which I'll probably get onto later what light maps are. But
when we look into when we get you running around the engine and stuff and having a look at that, you can point out to us what you mean by light maps and stuff like that as well.
Yeah.
Okay. So the next one. So this one, was this your second year project?
Yeah, it was my first
level 5. Yeah.
Yeah, it's my first ever environment art piece, I would say.
Yeah, the first one. I think we had quite a few conversations, didn't we, about wood textures. And do you know what? This is a story that I tell anybody who will listen about when you started off in your career as a game artist, or a career as an environment artist, is the way that wood grain moves. Because I remember that cartwheel when you first showed it me, and it was just one massive piece of wood. And the grain was completely going the wrong way. And then I said to you, go away and have a look at how you make cartwheels, or how they made cartwheels back in the Western times. And you came back the next day and you'd done this absolutely perfect cartwheel because you found out how they made cartwheels. And it's just, I didn't even know how they made cartwheels. It was literally just little pieces of wood all tacked together to make one big wheel. It was fantastic. And then obviously the sunset and things like that, and we had a conversation to me about the bottoms of the doors.
Yeah.
being, because I always go on about this, don't I? Making
No, attention to detail.
yeah, it's that little bit, that attention to detail is what's going to really stand you out from everybody else. And it's that, because I always go on about certain students having models that have just come off the conveyor belt, so when they've done a character art or whatever else, it's absolutely pristine perfect, whereas something like a samurai or whatever else wouldn't be pristine perfect. They'd be, there'd be wear and tear on their clothes, there'd be blood splatters, there's that sort of thing that you need to think about, isn't it?
Yeah.
So
Gets fun at times, yeah. I get to that as well.
Yeah, and like the bottoms of the doors would be smacked by all sorts of rocks and stuff, so there'd be lots of damage on them, wouldn't there? But yeah, amazing piece. And it's we've got a few more coming up in the chat. Rhubarb's put they're fantastic. Funkatron.
Thank you.
Would make a good setting for a horror game. Yeah,
thanks, yeah.
The World War II map, yeah.
Yeah, that's kind of my inspiration. A lot of horror games, I would say.
Yeah, because this one was a level 6 project, so this is third year. Because remember, you did this bus, didn't you? The school bus, post-apocalyptic school bus. Was that in your first year you did that?
I think second, yeah. It was like
second year, was it? Yeah.
Yeah, it was like a vehicle assignment that we were doing.
It's been a long time.
I'm sure as time flies.
Yeah, and an arm sticking out of the ice. Wouldn't like to have ice in me drink.
Horror, like yet again.
So yeah, I think this one you've got video of this one as well, haven't you? Walking around.
Yeah. Using cinematic technique from Unreal.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And this one's a good one. This one, I don't know. Do you want to how this one started off?
Yeah. This was pretty fast, but this project. But basically, this was a spin-off that I was doing. So basically, me and I was in a group where we were working. We were basically working on a project for this company that, and basically we were making a video, like an animation video of an Apollo 11 mission, because it was for this company called Tech Up and Go, where they were testing like a fan projector machine, and we use our animation as a showpiece. So basically, sorry, getting to it, I modeled basically that lunar module, which is the of course the Eagle lander that they used to get onto the moon, and other stuff like the shuttle. And when we completed that project, I didn't know what else to do, so I decided to make a scenery using those models about like a, how would you say, a behind the scenes thing. If people keep talking about the moon landing was fake, and I was like, just make a scenery out of it. It would be interesting.
Yeah, made in a Hollywood basement.
Yeah,
to quote song lyrics. So yeah, I mean the project was showcased in the London Science Museum.
Yeah,
which is quite a big thing, really, when you think about it. We didn't really think about it at the time. It was like, oh, we want you to do this animation of the moon landing, but it's going to go on these massive fans that are going to make it look like a hologram, and it's called a Hyper VSN if anyone wants to check it out. And then so you modelled that and then come up with this project afterwards. But that was kind of a strange outing as well, when we wanted you to just be able to see the project in the Science Museum. So we literally rented a car and drove to London, or drove to Watford, got the tube over, spent an hour looking at this exhibition, then got the tube back, and then drove back to Wrexham. So it was like almost like an 8-hour sort of car ride for a 1-hour sort of look at this exhibition.
Yeah, it was fun. Nevertheless, yeah.
Yeah, because I think wasn't that around the time that Game of Thrones had a Starbucks cup or something in the actual.
Oh, you're gonna tell them.
Filming. So you put a cup in this, didn't you? And it was
and they didn't have.
Yeah, they wouldn't have had cups in when the moon landing was kicking about. Was it the 60s or something like that? 1969 or something. And they didn't have them coffee cups then.
Yeah. another error I would point out is the flag is sticking up in that scene. I would say.
Well, this is it because they say that, isn't it? There's no gravity on the moon, isn't there? So they would have forced it to stay.
Oh
up.
yeah.
Because if there was no, unless they, I don't know, I can't remember the footage now, but unless they picked it up and positioned it, it wouldn't be like that, would it?
Yeah, I suppose. Yeah.
Cool. And then these are your individual props that you've created.
Yes, basically these are the props that I created for the scenes, and I thought some of them looked a bit like, well, I would say good in my opinion, that I decided to basically, well, display them on their own. Yeah.
This is a what's this? Is it Marmoset Toolkit, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. So you can actually put your models in there and rotate around, and then you can change it so you can see like the normal maps, albedo, reflectivity, gloss, and the topology in that as well, which is kind of
the PBR system overall. Yeah.
So all the, because a lot of people, I don't think, when they see these things, they don't see how much detail go in there, because it's not just a case of 3D modeling it and chucking a texture on. There's a whole load of extras that come with it, isn't it? And I think you've got Substance open, haven't you, today? So we'll have a little look at that later on.
Yeah.
In terms of the process of that.
Yeah, I got that up and ready when everyone's ready. Yeah. Or when I'm ready to show it.
Cool.
Yeah.
And these are the there we go. There's the. What is it? A vending machine? Like an old school sort of.
Yeah, like a 60s vending machine. Yeah. Roller cola.
That was for the post-apocalyptic gas station, wasn't it?
Yeah, so it's looking a bit dirty and vandalized because of the atmosphere of the post-apocalyptic thing. Yeah. And these things, of course, turntables. You can do that in a Marmoset. Basically, if you want to get a good view on the props,
A few people in the chat, Kismetachug, but great idea. I think that's for the lunar module. And Funkatron Juggernog. Not sure if that's a.
Thank you.
There you go.
Same with this one, yeah.
Because these look very different, don't they? When they get put in the game engine. Yeah,
they do.
There's a lot of cleanup you've had to do on that, isn't it? When you go from something like Substance Painter, which is the texturing software, and put it into Unreal Engine, it can be quite tricky. Yeah,
it's basically, it's like a technical thing you got to basically do. It's called the in Unreal Engine. You got to get it all together again using the material editor. I'll go over that again. I might as well just say everything we cover. I'm just going to say, I'll show that.
Show that in a minute. There's that really straight door that we talked about.
Oh yeah. Yeah, the crazy thing about this barn that I created was it's all in one model, no specific parts. So
it's before you started doing modular stuff, wasn't it? It was like,
we
need to go back and fix that.
Oh no, that's fine. That's just basically you zoom out in it. It's basically so thin you look out. It's just still got to fix it though. Yeah. Yep, and all these numbers, the amount of polygons it takes to build these things. Yeah, basically your job is to make sure they can be low as they can. Well, not low as they can, but make sure they're not high as possible.
So it's not going off the scale.
Yeah, storage is important, of course. Yeah, and that was another prop for the Western scenery I was doing.
So well, if anyone is on ArtStation, then certainly head over to Dan's page and give him a follow. 21 followers already.
Well, we're getting somewhere.
Yeah, absolutely. ArtStation's one of them places, isn't it? That it's really hard to get notoriety on it. But it's a really good platform for portfolio, and a lot of studios will take that as a portfolio website. Funkatron put COD Zombies. That was what Juggernog was about. Sorry, I don't really play Call of Duty. I haven't played Call of Duty for quite a while.
Oh, think he's talking about
the map.
Call of Duty 2 Zombies when it was all 60s. Yeah, that was kind of my inspiration. Yeah.
Great.
Yeah.
Okay, let's get rid of that art station. There we are.
Okay.
Okay, so Brinkley Comics, do you prefer hard surface modeling, and do you have a particular preference to what type of assets you make? Props, weapons, vehicles, characters, etc.
Oh, so basically, like what?
So, do you hard surface modeling in terms of your things like your crates and things like that, or do you prefer more organic stuff like the foliage and stuff like that, or
a lot of these, to be honest, organic assets are like basically I'm trying to still learn how to create them from scratch because a bunch of these are from the Unreal Marketplace, and I'm basically learning how to basically make these like images, like leaves to basically apply, which can be difficult, and also try to animate them.
I would say you're more of a hard surface modeler.
Yeah, exactly.
And because characters really isn't your thing.
For like a
not that we don't know
stuff,
that, because you never really did that much of it, did you? So
you
just sort of gravitated towards through the environment side of it.
Yeah, but then I start to think that this hard surface modeling is just beginning to be my comfort zone, so I need to probably get out of it a little bit more. Yeah, and basically the hardest model I've probably ever done was this tree over here, I would say. Basically, it's just basically you create a cylinder at first, and then you gotta expand it, and create these like extensions, But also the most hardest bit, well, I'll tell everyone now, the UV mapping, of course, when it comes to specific objects like this. Basically, so UV mapping basically is it's setting up a, think of it like it's like a sheet you're putting over to get ready to texture, you'd say.
Yeah, it's like peeling the skin off a 3D object and making it flat, isn't it, to put it into to be able to texture it. A lot of the physical based rendering softwares now, you just texture straight onto 3D anyway, don't you? But you've still got to have that map there to allow the software to know where certain elements are. So and it's Brinkley has just put as well, what type of assets do you prefer? Are you more props, weapons, or would you prefer the buildings?
I would say props, It's just like basically a bunch of barrels and crates and tables, basically furniture, I would say. Because sometimes when I do these sort of props, I like doing sort of details to them, making them damaged. But again, I would say it's still my comfort zone. So this project was about getting out of it, like doing the church, and also a big thing that plays part of this project was definitely the lighting, basically learning some new things. Like the light maps, like I said. For the Vikings project, it was like an attempt to learn about the light maps, but this one, it's basically taking it further and completing it.
And then Brinkley's put, I prefer hard surface to characters are tricky, and the church looks fantastic.
Oh, thank you.
So do you want to take us around the church and let's have a little look at the church as well?
Yeah.
Because this is one of the first times you haven't done the interior as well, isn't it? So, but I think doing this project has been quite a lot anyway. Because just looking round here, that landscape goes on for quite a bit.
Yeah.
To do the inside as well. Might be something that you do over the summer, but it's kind of.
Do you want me to just scroll around it, or do you want me to
just
play the character?
You will play it if you wish.
Okay, so this is, you may have seen the recording of me doing this. So you hear a bit of birds chirping, sorry. Sorry, starting point was there. So all these props over here were created from scratch.
You might have to move a bit slower because obviously trying to get that across Zoom and then over Twitch is a little bit, we're just getting a lot of motion blur.
Yeah, forgot about that. I really wanted to make a lot more props, and basically what I was thinking was going back onto this project to basically do more props and to make it more specifically detailed. Sorry, the birds were too loud. I feel like it's interrupting my flow. So yeah. Okay, so back to the church. I basically the most fun part was like adding a lot of damaged details, like the decals over here, and the I was following what you said like before, the barn, making sure you know, there's some impact at the bottom, so you can't see it much because of the bushes, but like adding some more like muddiness to the bottom, but also some mossy materials.
Because that is a tricky thing, and you create a building, and it's so harsh when if you've got a building and you're straight to a flat floor, and that's what really sort of makes it look odd, that it doesn't quite look right. Because when you think of buildings and stuff, it's never perfect, is it? Even a brand new building has got some sort of, I don't know, moss or whatever, dirt or whatnot, or mortar or something around the base of it that makes it look, so it's not like it's just been plonked there, if you like, just dropped out of the sky and landed on the floor.
Oh yeah, and how I compiled this church together, like you may see a lot of artists, environment artists who've done the same thing. So basically you're basically taking you know, bits of what you've created. So basically I didn't create like, you know, the entire, say this whole section over here, like all in one stretch. Basically, because of the UV map, you've got a, basically if you make a model too big, then the more you risk the texture, texture being completely blurry and not as effective. So basically, because you can basically compartmentalize, if that's the right word.
Modular, isn't it? It's in modules.
So basically it's duplicating them to basically give the illusion that it's all in one thing. And that's what many environment artists do when it comes to architecture. Giving the illusion that it's so I've done the same thing here.
It's like what when we start off doing this, you deconstruct the building, don't you? And you sort of model that each piece. Say there's 12 parts to a building, and then technically what you can do is reorganize each of those parts in a different arrangement, and you can make an entire street out. So it's basically time saving.
Yeah, definitely. Basically think of it like a modeling kit, I would say, just basically, but it's not just on screen.
When you think, if you're playing things like Assassin's Creed or like Valhalla, and you're playing things like Cyberpunk or something like that the sheer size of the maps, you know, there's got to be some areas where you can shave some time off. If you had to model every little detail in those maps, they'd never get done. So there's a lot of stuff that gets reused, isn't it? That's why you can see there's quite a lot of Pixar films where you see a few assets that have been reused.
And same with all these props. Sometimes they can be duplicated. Well, of course, like because sometimes environments in games are pretty so much expanded, they're bound to basically reuse the same props over again in different places. And so the foliage is something I could talk about. Well, when I say foliage, I don't mean like bushes and all that stuff, like the leaves as well, twigs lying around. It's basically the tool in Unreal Engine where basically it's like you're basically painting things around there. So basically you're painting a bunch of leaves all over the floor. It's a faster way than just like, you know, drag it, click and drag.
Each individual leaf being placed.
Painted
on rather than placing each individual leaf, and obviously and getting that mud in there as well, because we talked about, I think the feedback on this was so difficult to give you when you were doing this project. I mean, there was that it was literally down to me just telling you to maybe rotate a tree, because physically you wouldn't be able to break a tree that way, and that was it. I mean, what else could I say? It was kind of
probably.
Because look at that. If you look at that broken tree there, I think there was one right by the building, wasn't there? And I said to you, just rotate it, because it looks like if someone, like I don't know, like an army wagon or something was to reverse into it, then it'd snap like that. But
Yeah.
because it was snapped towards the building, there's no way it would have, or snapped away from the building, there's no way it would have been able to do that.
Yeah. It's also contradictory that a fence that is just, it's fine as it is, just being there, so I might as well get rid of that. Otherwise, no wagon came in, I guess.
Yeah, well, it depends on how that tree was broken, doesn't it? I mean, if it was hit by a mortar or something, then you'd need maybe a crater behind it or something, I don't know.
Yeah.
It's one of them, isn't it? It's kind of, you just got to make sure that everything's believable.
Yeah, and also, it doesn't go on forever, of course, this scene. Yeah. So basically, a lot of environment artists on who do these projects, they're just bound to basically they'll just do like do screenshots of the scenes that look the most perfect, basically.
Yeah, just showing the best pieces
of the best areas of that scene. Yeah. So basically, I thought that this like look of this way is basically the best bit, and other areas. Going to the top of the church as well, I feel like. Yeah, I just realised that's gone. Sometimes it does that thing. I've done something, but
the odd texture disappears.
Yeah, so
that's basically showing what it looks like before you put the textures on.
Yeah, so basically, this is the material editor. See what's wrong over here. So there's an area with the rough map over here. Well, ambient occlusion, roughness map, yeah.
So these are all very technical terms, aren't they? It's kind of,
yeah.
It might be worth you going into substance later on and us having a look at when you talk about roughness and things like that.
Spotted the problem too.
There you go.
Yeah, so basically sRGB, you gotta unclick that. Okay, save. You can't have an SR. Well, sorry. What's it saying here? Well, continue. Failed to save incorrect. I don't know. We'll get back to that another time. But basically, you can't really have an sRGB and also a linear color. Basically, well, if I go back, so basically, if I just go on color, I think it should be fine. But
well, you're saying that Rubam's put in the chat weathering of the buildings, perhaps. I think that's when we were talking about.
There we go. I think it's
the building at the bottom.
Yeah.
There you go. So that's fixed.
Hopefully. Just wait for that to load.
Lambert 70. Did I not teach you anything about labeling your textures?
Get out of it for now.
So that's your son. That's your next project now. If I'd known that, you would have definitely not got that grade.
Yeah.
Get them textures labelled properly.
Yeah. Okay. Well, only one section is completed. Yeah, for this entire thing. So you get the idea. Yeah. So that texture's come back. It's just the rest of it. But yeah, pretty dark in here. I was thinking about putting like a sniper's nest in here, but I didn't have time.
Yeah.
Yeah. But definitely I should go back to this project and do more. Like
I think you could keep adding to it and adding more and getting more views and stuff out of it for your portfolio. It's certainly something you can build on, even if you decide to do the interior. It's just going back and labeling your textures. A
lot of work.
So
yeah.
So in terms of your journey throughout the university, has there been any highlights studying environment art? Game art in general?
A lot of things, yeah. It's just basically, really, the assignments, they basically pushed me to learning more.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's basically just, how would you say, all these professional artists are looking at all these professionals who've done done all these things, like the most realistic sceneries that you see on ArtStation, but also in video games. I felt like I wanted to achieve that, and I just wanted to push for it. And so basically the best bits in uni was just learning the softwares even more, just basically anything that's going to push me further into making more realistic sceneries. Yeah, and basically I would say texturing is just the most fun part when you got us teaching that. Yeah. and also
Yeah, because we did that, didn't we? I mean, pretty much year one, I got you doing the Meet Map project
yeah, that was fun.
for Create Futures, which was a competition brief for that Substance Painter was doing. So you were given the 3D model, and then you had to basically paint it or texture it with based on your favorite artist or artist influence. It was a while ago since we done this, wasn't it? It was good. We're talking like 4 years ago. That was such a good project, and it got you into the software. And I think the ones who did that project are still using Substance Painter now, and have obviously honed their skills with it as well.
Yeah.
So CA Silversmith's put, "Oh my word, that is incredible."
Thank you.
And Brinkley's put, "Is there a particular industry you're gunning for? A particular studio you would consider your dream job?" Ooh,
yeah,
that's a tricky one, isn't it? Because you don't want to alienate anybody.
Well, yeah. Well, of course, yeah. Just like everyone else, I'd say just going into the AAA industry. Yeah, if I work hard enough, and if I was to think about a studio in particular, well, of course, it would be Ubisoft. Well, that's basically Ubisoft has been communicative with a lot of students, yeah, and basically showing us how to get into the industry, and it really motivated me. So if I was like having a crazy dream of what I ever would want to do, probably go to Montreal and basically work for Ubisoft, but of course put in that hard work, definitely. Yeah,
it's a tricky one, because I mean,
yeah,
to get Ubisoft to relocate, I think you've got to have at least 2 years industry experience. So
yeah,
it's certainly worth trying to get into the studios in the UK first.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
that's something that I'll be doing. I get emails off their recruiters quite a few times a year. So everyone who's sort of graduated now, all their portfolios get bundled up and sent off to their recruiters.
Yeah.
So,
with this whole COVID thing, it's kind of
it slowed a lot of things down, hasn't it?
Yeah, and it's also offered a lot of things like working remotely, I guess. Yeah. Basically, all the artists basically have to work at home. I've kind of seen that with the artists I've followed. Yeah, and the next thing I'm trying to do is find a job specifically in Liverpool. Yeah.
Yeah, there's some fantastic studios over in Liverpool in the Northwest. Absolutely fantastic studios doing some really cool stuff.
Yeah.
So that's something that...
Yeah, the studio I'd love to work in, and this was the inspiration, but the Rebellion, and there's Rebellion in Runcorn. Runcorn's not it's not far away from Liverpool, but they are the guys who've done the Sniper Elite games. I was inspired by Sniper Elite to do this. Of course, the World War II game. And I've also sent them an email saying basically that I would like this job if
gives a job.
Well, yeah, it's like even if the chances are 1,000,000 to 1, but and I also mentioned I love Sniper Elite. It was the inspiration for this project, and I send them this, just work in progress. Yeah.
Brinkley Comics has put good luck.
Oh, thanks very much. Yeah. Need it a lot.
So do you want to show us a little bit? I'll tell you what. Before we move on to the other software, if you just play the game for us, press play on the top there, because you've actually just ported this over, haven't you, to Unreal Engine 5?
Yeah. Sorry if it's so dark.
This is the new engine. It's literally only just come out. Well, it's still in early access, isn't it?
Yeah.
So now press fire.
Oh God. Forgive me, I'm not.
That's brilliant. Keep firing.
It's like Zurg's cannon from Toy Story or something.
Yeah. So anyone who's used Unreal Engine before will know that the default gun in Unreal Engine is just these yellow balls that fire out. But that would be the job of a programmer, visual effects. A few other different departments. I mean, it's not something an environment artist to get involved in. Maybe the bullet holes, texturing bullet holes, things like that would be something that you would need to think about once the gun fired. But again, it's kind of special effects. Yeah. So
pretty sure it still looks effective for World War II guns.
Yeah, I mean, that ball just goes round and round. It makes me laugh every time. It's just completely unexpected.
Rapid fire.
Yeah. There you go. Everyone's going home today. So
Drove fear into the Germans.
yeah, brilliant. So, do you want to jump into another piece of software and show us some of the process that goes into this? Like, if you've got
Yep.
Maya open or Substance Painter.
Yep. Gonna have to unshare this first. Yeah.
Oh, here we go. This is going to break everything.
Will it?
Yeah, if you unshare and reshare, it'll be fine. But if you, for a brief second, it'll go funny.
Still trying to find. Oh wait, there we go.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it breaks that little bit at the bottom.
Okay, there we go.
There we go, we're back.
Okay, so this is Autodesk Maya, the 3D modeling software, which I've been using since 2017. This is.
So you'd
Yeah.
never used the software before you came to the university, basically?
No. Yeah, I remember. God, how stressful it was, like learning the basics. Yeah.
Yeah, I think you've gone a bit further than the basics now.
Yeah. Yeah. So, God, I was struggling on even creating a crate, but now, yeah, at this stage, I basically know how to model specific stuff. So this was probably the most complex model I've ever done, which was the, well, of course, the gun that we just showed you that, yeah, just fires those balls. Yeah, so basically, basically when it comes to modeling, it all starts off as a basic shape, like a cylinder, use other different shapes as well. So basically, it all started off as a cylinder, let's just say, and expand it, and also just basically extend it and extrude.
Lots of extruding.
A lot of extruding, basically.
Yeah. And cleaning.
Yeah, cleaning. So
when we talk about cleaning, it's very much about the topology and making sure that geometry is right, and that we haven't got any shapes that are, or polygons that are more than 4 sides. We like to keep everything in quads, especially anything that's going to be deformed. So if it's going to be bent or damaged, keep it into 4s. If it's hard surface and it's not going to move, triangles, because we can't bend a triangle without it kinking. So
yeah,
well, it doesn't subdivide, does it?
Yeah.
So a few people in the chat put, Kiss My Artichokes put, good luck, they would be lucky to have you. Funkatron's put, looks awesome. And Brinkley's put, nice, looks very clean. There we go.
Thanks to a lot of you. Yeah. And basically there's this technique called the high to low poly bake. Studios would much prefer that as a way to save polys. Basically what that is you're giving the illusion that say, like, for example, well, I probably didn't need this, but say like this extruded rectangle that goes in, yeah, I could still keep that. But basically if I take it's basically take a low poly version of this, yeah, and a high poly version, yeah. But basically you basically
so the high poly version has
you're
got
better explaining, sorry.
well, it's got everything on it, hasn't it? It's got all the it might have all the little nicks and things like that. So you might take it into something like ZBrush and add some dints and cracks and whatever else to it. But you couldn't use that within the game because it would be there'd be too many polygons. So every time you see a face there or a shape, that's a polygon, and we want to try and keep that number low. So what we do is we take a high version of that, a low version, and we bake it down so that you end up then with what we call a normal map, and that normal map basically tricks the software.
It gives an illusion.
Yeah, it gives the illusion of a 3D shape on a surface. So then we can add things like height maps into it as well. That emphasizes those areas. We can add, with the physical based rendering stuff now, we can add things like metalness, roughness. So if we've got a shape that's made out of metal, then we would sort of use the metalness, make it shiny. We could even make it dull. But so it's like gun metal. It could be aluminium, whatever, and it'll actually look like that in the engine as well. or if it's plastic, we tend to use roughness and whatever else. So yeah, so there's a lot of intricacies that go into it. I think you've put quite a bit of detail into that already. Is that the low version, or is that the high version?
I've used no version basically. It was just on its own, but yeah, definitely. I've used it for certain things like say making the radio, which is basically you say like there's buttons on it which the character says not really going to press, but it still gives the illusion that the buttons are there. That way it can say polys. Yeah, a lot of games do that. Yeah.
So just if you bring up a cylinder and then so people can see that, you know, how they started off. So if you just create a cylinder at the top,
it's up the way.
So this is it in a nutshell. That's how it starts off. I mean, obviously, whatever, depending on the shape, might start off with a cube or.
Yeah, and depending on like you know what the model you're intending to build is kind of familiar to what shape I guess. So say like I expanded this, and I wanted to extrude say a magazine over here by going on to insert the edge loop. I put on mirror. And yeah, this is how that's pretty much the basis.
Yeah, how it starts off, isn't it? It's
how it starts off, yeah.
Blocking out a rough shape. And they all when it comes to high-to-low baking, the methodology that we use is the same as Star Wars. George Lucas, I think, coined the term kit bashing. So it's literally getting whatever you can, different shapes, whatever, putting it all together as a so it becomes the high poly shape, and then we actually have a clean version of the model when it's all tied together and all nice and clean, and then we bake that down.
Yep.
So yeah, it's quite so if said someone was watching now who wanted to get into 3D modeling, do you have any advice on how they could start that off?
Yeah, basically just get yourself into downloading these softwares and basically just start going. Definitely look at YouTube videos. They definitely helped me on the journey. Yeah, and just basically I would say just
find yourself a really good degree. no, I'm joking.
No. So, yeah, degrees aren't going to matter when you're out there. It's going to be your portfolio. So it's just more like, that is.
I think the degree, when it comes to these kind of courses, gives you the opportunity to explore what it is you want to do and give you a taste of different things, as well as the sort of practical side of things like portfolio building, business acumen, making sure that you've got time to clean up the models and that you are sort of focusing on what these models are going to look like, who to put them in front of. So there's quite a lot of stuff that you can't get off YouTube videos as well that we provide you as part of the course.
Also look at online documents as well. I've been looking into, they're useful.
Yeah. So Brinkley's put, do you feel Blender is a good substitute for Maya and Max? I think. Do you want to answer that one? Or...
I mean, no, I haven't used it all yet, but I know that I'm going to have to learn that because it is free. And I know that when my student licenses for Maya expire, then I'm probably going to have to use Blender at some point.
I think Blender's a tricky one. You can get Maya, as long as you're a study and you're not using it commercially, you can get Maya for free. But the thing is with Blender at the moment, they were given a few years ago now, I think, $1 billion by Unreal Engine to develop tools and tool sets. So Blender's actually becoming like a massive thing. So a lot of studios don't care whether you use Blender or Maya or Max.
Yeah.
I think Maya and Max has always been regional. Like Leamington Spa is always like 3ds Max. Yeah. The Northwest has always been Maya. So I think wherever you go will change, the software will change. So it's good once you know about 3D modeling and the basics and talking about topology and UV mapping and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah,
The
I feel like
softwares are transferable.
yeah, I feel like yeah, it's just basically all the studios want good FBX models, and doesn't matter how much you learn one like software.
Yeah,
It's
I do have a feeling that with Unreal Engine 5 coming out and now that investment in Blender, I think what Unreal Engine are looking at is their own modeler in the engine. So you
yeah,
could literally, Unreal Engine will be the one-stop shop for everything, because they've even got a deal with Quixel and Megascans,
yeah,
so which is texturing. So it could potentially become this one-stop shop for everything.
yeah, and they've introduced these features of was it Nanite and Lumen, I think it's called.
Yeah.
Yeah, Nanite is a way to basically having like more storage, well, to have many more polys.
Yeah.
And whereas for Lumen, it's more like direct lighting, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Like
and that's because of the virtual production side of things as well. So things like Match of the Day and all that sort of stuff, and now Unreal Engine is used to film that, because they just put people in front of a green screen, a camera, and the engine actually processes it all and spits it out with. You've got your presenters, and then you've got all your football stuff going on the back.
Yeah. Do you want me to also show the Substance?
Yeah. If you want to switch to Substance, where's that Brinkley? But sorry, Jen's got to go. This has been fascinating. I've given you a follow on ArtStation, Dan. Good luck.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I think I just saw it on my phone. Yeah, thanks very much. Sorry, let me just
share away.
Share screen.
Yeah, when you ever you share and unshare screens, it will break my
there we go.
layout.
Do you see it now?
That's it.
Yep. So this is what? Yep. So basically, it's a lot of work when it comes to like layers on top of layers of materials, and also masking. So say like for example, you started off with a really simple metal material underneath. You can see it right there on the edges, but then I used another like a darker metal material to put on top of it. But you can see, the underlayer with all these damages here. So basically, that's the gist of Substance. Well, that's the most fun part for me. Yeah.
And also where you've got Mark II written on the.
Yeah.
Is it? I keep calling it a gun. Would you class that as a rifle or a submachine gun? Not sure.
I'm not knowledgeable on guns.
I'm not knowledgeable on guns. I do. I just know. It looks good. But the Mark II, you wouldn't model that, would you? That's come in texturing as well.
Yeah, it was the alpha texturing, and basically what that is basically you create your own brush or like a stencil to basically and stamp it right on there. So what I've done was I've basically written Mark II on Photoshop, exported that as a PNG, and then basically import it as a alpha for this, and you can
Same with the screw head as well. That'd be an alpha.
Yeah. Yep. And same with this area over here.
Yeah.
And the A symbol there.
So do you have a reference image for this particular weapon?
Well, it's like a bunch of different, but I'll show it.
So is this not an actual World War II weapon? Is this something you've created, or is this an actual?
Oh no, it's an actual
weapon.
Yeah, it's an actual weapon. Yeah.
So again, not knowledgeable about guns. You get a reference image and copy it basically.
Basically, what I've done was basically look through ArtStation through people who've done this gun before.
Yeah.
And the reason I do that because it's useful when you're looking at models. You can use them to scroll around and see all the details. So, like, say, if I was to pluck an image from Google Images and look at a gun, but I won't be able to see any other, area, you could say. Yeah, sometimes
that's a tricky thing, isn't it? Sometimes it's a bit of creative license as well of trying to get the other side to be done.
Yeah, and the fact is that a lot of these people, they don't have enough knowledge for what it is that they're modeling. So sometimes they have to make stuff up. Like sometimes you don't have to care if it's accurate, but of course you do when it comes to making games. But it's like
I could imagine the Call of Duty fans know their guns inside and out.
Yeah, and it's like
and they know exactly what they do, how powerful they are, how much recoil they've got, and everything. So they do have to be absolutely sort of historically accurate.
yeah, yeah, it's like accuracy is the key when it comes to modeling these things. Yeah, but it can be hard to research for what that accuracy can
Yeah,
be.
because I can't imagine like World War II that they spent that much time photographing one side of a gun and the other side of a gun, and then
Yeah,
because we use a lot of orthographic projections when it comes to 3D modeling, which is a front, a side, and a top view, or depending on which views you want. So it can be difficult, can't it, to get those reference images.
yeah.
It's really good.
Okay, and you have all these layers over here. So basically, everything that was used to basically make the gun. So everything from dirt. So layer 4.
Yeah.
Well, I need to name these things, but yeah.
Yeah, Dan, you do need to label your textures.
Yeah,
you see your layers.
You see all these brush marks over here. That was. Yeah. Well, this is not an assignment anymore, Steve. You can't.
Well, there could be potential employers out here looking at this, going, "Oh, do you know what? This fella is pretty good. Oh, do you know what? He hasn't labelled his textures. I'm off. See you later. I'll get somebody who can write, who can label a texture." It's just one of them, isn't it? It's just practice. Because if you were to pass this project on to somebody else, they know exactly which texture's which, then, don't they?
Yeah,
so
true.
we've got to be on it for the studio's sake.
Yeah, I guess you got to be specific in what you're writing to them. Like, say, this is like this version of the gun is like MK underscore like
MK2 underscore dirt underscore 3. So Funkatron's put that was a cool gun in Return to Castle Wolfenstein.
I wouldn't know because I haven't played that game yet. So.
Yeah, well, the thing is, there was a lot of games you were holding off on, wasn't there, until you'd finished all your projects.
Oh yeah,
which
definitely.
Is always good, which is a good thing, you know. How many students sort of disappear on release day? Again, I used to be able to when I worked in FE in another college. I could literally tell whether or not I was going to get students in a class or not. But depending on release day, if Call of Duty was coming out or Assassin's Creed or anything, forget it. I'd be sitting there on my own.
Yeah, it's a thing. Yeah, it's a thing I keep constantly doing. It's also like at the end of an assignment, I'm going to get that game as reward. You know, just wait until it doesn't distract me. It just When I was done with the Viking project, I was like, okay, now I can celebrate by playing Valhalla. You know.
Yeah, absolutely, because that was a massive game as well.
Yeah,
I've just finished. I finished the DLC, and I've just got a couple of chests to get, and that's it. So I'm waiting patiently for the next one, which is Paris, I think.
Yeah. And what's the next game going to be? There's a lot of rumors.
I think that there's a lot of rumors that they're going to just rip off Ghosts of Tsushima.
Oh God. I think there was another rumor saying it's going to be Black Flag 2, but in Brazil. I don't know.
Oh, that'd be interesting.
Yeah. I keep fantasizing like what time periods they should do in that. Well, we all do. Yeah.
Punkatron's putting a good plan, dude. Focus on the grind and then spam the gaming lol. Yeah, absolutely. That is something I'd recommend. Is keep it as a treat until you get your work done first. Because the thing is, you know, you've got to make sure your job's done before you start playing games. So how often do you model, use the software, texture, that sort of stuff?
Just basically during the evenings. Up to the last 12 weeks, it should have been 9 to 5, Monday to Friday, plus evenings, weekends. Oh yeah, when it comes to assignment, when it comes to assignment, it's a lot. It's all the time. I set up a time period saying 7 hours a day of doing the stuff. But when it comes to like not doing the assignment, sometimes when I'm done with the assignment, I'm like, get away from it all. I need a break.
Yeah.
Play a bit of games. But then, of course, just like a week later, come back to it and
constant.
Have some fun.
Yeah, because you also do the sketching as well, don't you? Which is constant. I think it doesn't have to set necessary. Once you know the software and you know what you're doing. I mean, jumping between playing a game and drawing, but keeping your art skills there is
all these
the key,
things,
isn't it? It's keeping the sketchbooks, it's keeping the art going, and doing stuff for fun as well, which is doing a lot of people, art directors and artists will model in the evenings for fun.
Yeah, definitely. And more than anything, in my own time when I'm not modeling, what I do more than anything is looking at tutorials. Well, when I go to bed, I just keep looking at tutorials. Yes, and then probably the next day I would experiment it. With the I did it with the high to low poly bakes. Just go to bed, look at tutorials on it, and then the next day, okay, I'm going to do it this time. Well, give it a go. Yeah. And the same is happening right now, where I've downloaded a bunch of software that I haven't really experienced with yet, which is a Substance Designer.
Okay.
And now I'm experimenting them. Yeah.
So just to let people know what Substance Designer is.
Yeah.
What you're seeing on the screen is Substance Painter. So the textures are already there. You can make your own textures in this by overlaying the textures that are already in there or bringing in your own textures. But Substance Designer gets you to make the textures from scratch. So it's kind of a tricky one to explain, isn't it? When we used to do this in Photoshop and texture in Photoshop, you're looking at about 50 plus layers just to get one of these textures. So to get that one, I don't know, I'm just looking at the screen now. I think one of them, is it brass or something? They're the gold one. To get brass, you're looking at about 50 so layers in Photoshop. To have brass in there now is just one layer. But you have to go back into that and layer it up to make it look like brass. But you can't just throw a brass texture on and have done with it. You can't. Because a lot of people will say, oh, Substance is dead easy and Photoshop is the difficult way to do it, or another painter or whatever else. But it's only easy for those who just come into the software and just throw a texture on. Those who come in and put that detail in, like the wear and tear, the scratches, the mud, the dirt, the blood, whatever else it is on there that's made this thing look lived, is the key to sort of mastering the software, I think. Making it look as realistic as you possibly can. But yeah, I think you've achieved that with this model then. Yeah.
I feel like I wouldn't look forward to Substance Designer because it's so technical. You could say it's similar.
It's kind of it's not something I envy you going into. I prefer the painter rather than the designer, but
yeah, you got to take risks, I suppose.
Yeah,
and I've also downloaded Alchemist, which I guess it's more to do with, well, it's hard to know the difference. I think it's to do with controlling images, I guess.
I've not, again, it's been a while since I've used anything to do with Substance, so Alchemist's a new thing from them, I think.
It's new to me at this point as well.
This is the other thing, isn't it? It's I think when you go into these kind of industries, you can't just sort of learn one piece of software and that's it. You've got to keep going with the software because new software will come out all the time, or an updated version. I mean, if you look at Maya, for instance, I think we're on Maya 2022 at the moment. When I first started using Maya, good grief, now we're talking. Anyway, when I first started using Maya many moons ago, it was a completely different software package because of the amount of updates. So it is kind of like you do have to keep going with all these different software packages that there's always something to learn, isn't there?
Yeah.
I think you've got to have a passion for that, and it can be quite fun as well, or quite. I don't know. Some people think it can be quite scary learning a new software package, but sometimes I kind of think that's the fun bit of opening something up and not having a clue what to do with it.
Yeah, I fall into that trap.
How do you feel about that? Is learning new software something that you?
Yeah, it's like every time I look at a tutorial or like learning how to do it, sometimes you get that feeling they're not speaking English at all. It's just like you have to explain it to me like I'm a child, because that's the fear. It's just like, it was the fear when I first got into doing these softwares first, but as soon as you got past the basics, you feel like you know what you're doing. Yeah.
Alchemist is a AI powered piece of software that basically turns a photograph into a 3D material. So it's more about the graphics card and the artificial intelligence doing the work for you than you, I think. So it's kind of like, like the mega scans. You've got people going out and doing a mega scan. I think it's more like that. So you could take a photograph or a high quality photograph and put it into that, and it'll create the 3D material for you. But I think going material creation with substance design, it could be the way forward. But again, if students or anyone wanting to learn Substance, which is now owned by Adobe, which is quite mad.
Yeah.
Adobe, the Disney of the software world, is kind of, it's free for students to use, or if it's at the moment anyway, it's not like their other Adobe packages where you have to pay for it regardless. But you can actually get a student version or a non-commercial version, which is quite good to learn.
For an indie license, it's like £20 a month, which is not bad, but
So just while you're doing that, Dan, you're just putting dents and scratches on. So just zoom into it a little bit so we can see.
Yeah, just an example. Yeah. So basically, it's just a bunch of scratches onto there. So basically, well, there's no polygons going on. It's just basically, you're just painting in a. As you can see, it's like you'll see a lot of games do this. It's like it gives the illusion that
you can
something is so deep, but it isn't. It's just a plain surface, but it gives the illusion. You
can turn it at a certain angle, can't you? And you can see that there's nothing there.
Yeah.
It's the way the light deflects off the surface, basically, in a nutshell. Very good.
Yep.
Fantastic stuff.
And let's say I wanted to make this gun like a lot, dirtier. Well, can this sort of gun rust? Well, doesn't matter, but let's just say
it does. Let's just say it rusts.
Let's just say it rusts, and then I basically go on to smart masks, which is basically blending the rust, to make it more realistic, more realistically placed. Can't speak. Edge rust or just
edge rust maybe.
Probably just go for edge rust. Yeah.
There you go.
And there we go.
So just with two textures, it's starting to look more realistic, like it's worn. But it's not just putting those two on; it's adding more to it. More like, say, if it was rusty like that, you got to think, where's it been? What have you been doing with it? So if it's been buried in the earth for years, or it's been left out in the rain, what else is going to be damaged on it? Is it going to be be buckled in any way? Is it going to be scarred?
Yeah. Let's say if it was post-apocalyptic, this is what it would look like.
Yeah.
Let's just say. Yeah, you can control the value of it, like how far from the edge do you want it to be, or like how scattered you would like it. Yeah, I think that's the fun part. It's just the masking when it comes to Substance. For me. Yeah,
and just that layering it up and the level of detail that's going into it.
Yeah.
Because you've got, what you see in there is you've got the 3D shape, but you've also got the UV map, which is what we talked about earlier on.
Yep.
It's the flat surface. It's basically being unwrapped, isn't it? It's almost like the skin of it. So that's all the individual bits all flat.
Yep.
So you can actually select those, and it'll select on the model itself.
Yeah, it's got to be like as perfect as possible, and making sure, that each bit is big as possible as you can make them. Yeah, in order for your texture to look better. more quality to it. So there are points where I basically had to split this into sections. Yeah, because if I was to put all that into one box, then it would, the texture quality wouldn't be as good.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anything else you want me to show? Or?
Yeah. Well, have you got any other softwares open, or is it just the Maya Substance? And
yeah, it's just those.
If you go back to the engine, and then we'll have a little look at. We can have a little walk around, and if anyone's got any last minute questions.
Oh yeah, the light maps. Do you want me to talk about that? Like I said, I was going to mention them. Sorry. So the light maps are basically used to project the. I'm sorry, it's a bit slowing down.
I just got to. Sorry, Dan. I'm just sort of. There's a few people asking questions that are not on the chat, and I think are in Discord. I'm just. So the problem with Discord is that nobody's name is on it. So, Amelia on Discord, could you show the texture set list one more time?
Back on Substance.
I think so, yeah. Oh, that's sorry. Yeah, texture set list. That's Natalia, I think. Sorry, I do apologise for naming you. There you go. So, if you do have a question on Discord, then certainly fire it in, or we can put it on the actual Twitch chat as well. Can you show the texture set list one more time? Settings. Attached maps.
Yeah, like over here.
The hidden tab.
The hidden
tab. Where are we? Can't see it on your screen. All the writing's dead small for me. I can't. It's been a long time since I've used Substance as well. So you see at the top, just where it says material in the drop down.
Yeah, sorry. Right there. Oh.
So you see, sorry, where it says layers, you know the tab next to it.
Oh, of course.
Texture set settings. There we go.
Yep, there we go. Yeah, and this was at a 2K resolution.
Mm-hmm. Was there anything specific in that texture set settings that you wanted to see? Just wait and see if she replies.
Oh, so over there, like over this bit.
Yeah, so there's all your. Now scroll down. There you go.
Yeah.
That's what they're looking at. Yeah. So all the different maps in there. So your normal map, your world space ID. So I think you've just populated all them straight in there.
Yeah.
Is there any of them that you're not using?
Well, Unreal basically it only asks for 3 of them, which is the ID, which is the basic map, which is the ID, and the ambient. Well, in Unreal, they'll basically combine roughness and ambient occlusion and some other together into one map. Yeah, or you have the option of just making it different, but it all delivers the same result at the end, I feel like. Yeah. So basically ID, normal map, ambient occlusion, roughness. Oh yeah, and metallicness, yeah.
Yeah, that's what yeah, because certain models you might not use all them maps, might you? But it's there we go.
Yeah.
So hopefully that's answered your question. You should put nice in the Discord anyway.
Yeah.
So I've got Discord open. If anyone does want to join our Discord, the link is in the About Us section. So if you want to head back over to the church, and we'll have one last look at that, and then we can. Yep. And then we'll start looking at if there's anybody who's got any last minute questions. There we go. So you have a little run around that, Dan, see if there's any bits that we haven't seen already.
Yeah, you got the graveyard. Yeah. Oh yeah, and over this bit was the. I was thinking of trying to make a countryside as a background, but of course, don't want to make too much, and well, you feel like you get the feeling like everything is there anyway. So like you have the field of sunflowers and trees, and also the mountains up ahead.
Yeah.
Yeah, the fog gives it a bit of cover. Sorry, do you want me to shorten it down? The fog.
No, well, it's up to you. If you want to show us the mountains, you can do. It's kind of.
Oh, and all these trees, I've also used what was it called? Speed tree. To basically, well, I didn't create the trees from scratch, but they do like Speed Tree is a software where basically you can control these trees, like how weathered they are, say what season they could be in. Yeah, you can also, well, you can make a tree from scratch on Speed Tree, but it would cost money for to get the full version. So if you're using if you're using like an Unreal Engine version of Speed Tree, it's free. Yeah, but it's not going to give you like too much freedom.
Yeah, you're not going to get your own.
Yeah. So the best I can do is just basically duplicate a lot of these. Well, exploit it from Speed Tree and make sure they're all shaped differently for what I was given. Yeah.
Brilliant. It's a fantastic piece of work, Dan. It's impressive, and you know the staff that have been like sort of watching this tonight. Anybody who'll listen to me will gets to see the PDF that you handed in with this project.
Yeah.
So it is fantastic. Kiss my heart, Chugs, but you must be extremely proud of your work. It really is amazing how much detail you've put into it all. Thanks for showing us and your work, and hope you get your dream job soon.
You're my number one fan. Kiss my heart, joke. Yeah.
It's been. Do you know what? We're gonna wrap things up now. I mean, we weren't expecting to do a really long stream tonight because we've got another stream on Saturday. So if anyone's about on Saturday, we're going to be doing an art challenge. We're going to do a sort of a draw off or some sort of basically they're going to be given a theme every sort of 10 to 15 minutes, and there's going to be about 6 students, and they've all competing against each other to come up, see what they come up with. If that's going to be on during the day, so about 11 o'clock we're going to start that. Next week we've got an illustrator coming back on, and we're also going to be looking at doing maybe an alumni challenge as well. So possibly some I wouldn't say ex-students, some graduates, and if anyone's watching that's a graduate that wants to be part of that art challenge, if anyone's watching that wants to be part of the art challenge that's not on the stream, they can still get involved with Twitter and whatever else, so you'll be able to draw that up and post that on Twitter for us as well to see, and we'll share that on the screen. There's a couple of comments coming in. CA Silversmith puts, there's a World War I cemetery near I can't even say that word. Ypres. That looks just like that graveyard. It's incredible.
Oh, thank you.
And gives my jokes, but oh no, I'm working on Saturday. And CA Silversmith put, you're super talented.
Oh, thank you.
Cool.
I'll keep saying thanks to everyone.
yeah, that's one thing. You keep saying thanks to me, and I'm like,
that's
did the work.
Word. Well,
you did the work.
It's just like, well, I don't know.
What did you think? You agreed. Thanks. Yeah. Well, you did the work. It's your grade. You did it. Absolutely.
Nervous.
Amazing. Yeah. So, people who are back, if you can join us Saturday, please do art challenge. Dan, I hope you're going to be in the background, sort of drawing away and tweeting that to us as well. We'll release a hashtag on the day. And thank you very much for showing us your work, Dan.
Yeah.
Thanks for being an amazing student over the last 4 years. And now you're graduating with a master's. It's been brilliant.
Yeah, now it's job hunting season. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just keep sending it all out.
And Amelia in Discord's put, that is hard work, not talent. So yeah, you've absolutely put a lot of hard work into that as well. So yeah. Brilliant. Okay, so what we'll do now is we'll have a quick look who's online, who's on on our Twitch, to see who we should raid for the last part of our stream, as we normally do. If anyone's got any suggestions, do fire them into the chat. I am going to just quickly look who is about. If you want to keep moving around your map, Dan, let's have a little final look at what we're doing.
Trying to move slowly so that the camera catches it. Sorry.
This is the problem when because we're quite a distance away, aren't we? You're sort of North Wales coast, and I'm more in London. It's kind of, so by the power of Zoom and Twitch, we're able to do this. Let's have a quick look who is online at the minute. Okay, so there's a person online that we've raided a few times. Really good watercolor artist. Let's see what she's up to today before we jump in a raid and check there's no adverts. A watercolor skull. Cool. Okay, so I will sort that out now. So Rhubarb's put, thanks so much, that was excellent. It was, Dan, absolutely excellent. So thank you for sharing with us. Thank you for being a great student. Thank you for sort of achieving such a high grade for your final project. And hopefully, like everyone said in the chat, that we hope you get your dream job.
Thank you.
I think any studio who takes you on will be lucky to have you. And yeah, we'll see you again Saturday, or we'll definitely get you back in the future for the Alumni Art Challenge.
Yeah, I'd be more than happy for that.
Great. Okay, thank you very much.
Okay, thank you.
See you soon. Bye.
See you. Ta. Bye, everyone.